Hello, I'm Mark Dujsik of MarkReviewsMovies.com.
And I'm Brett Arnold of Yahoo Entertainment and the New Flesh Horror Movies podcast. And this podcast is At the Movies Again, formerly known as Roger Ebert and Me, a weekly movie review podcast tribute to Siskel and Ebert, hosted by the two film critics that have already introduced themselves. I don't know. I'm reading copy that's old, so I'm morphing it on the fly as if I don't know what I'm saying here. What do we do on this podcast? We aim to release every new streaming release, most digital releases. We try to cover every movie every Friday in the format that Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert pioneered. So basically, the title gives it away. We're just doing At the Movies again, and it's in honor of Siskel and Ebert, in no way affiliated with either brand. We are just fans and also film critics who would like to use our, I don't know if skills are the right word, our our ample use of our free time in seeing movies. We're trying to put our time to good use, is how I feel about it. Like, if we're putting in all this effort, somebody better be benefiting besides the two of us. So that's what we're doing. And today there are 9 movies we're talking about that are out today, Friday, June 26th, 2026. There would have been 10, but we already covered In the Hand of Dante on Netflix now, on a surprise bonus episode that came out the other day, I believe on Wednesday night. So if you missed that, you can double back and catch that. And also we caught the movies that I missed the previous week, including Death of Robin Hood, Unidentified, and Leviticus. So that bonus episode's out now, and this episode out, I guess, also now if you're listening to it, is Supergirl, Jackass Best and Last, The Invite, which is in limited release and expanding next week. That's the Olivia Wilde film. Little Brother on Netflix with John Cena and Eric Andre. A slew of indies with impressive casts, I would say. We got a Russell Crowe indie, an Angelina Jolie indie, a Scott Eastwood indie. There's a rom-com starring a girl that I recognized and was like, why do I recognize her? Turns out she was a child in Adam Sandler movies a decade ago, and that's how I knew her face, and that made me feel really old. And then there's Romeria, the latest from Carlos Simone, I believe is the director's name, who I think we've covered on the show before. What was that movie called? Like Summer 97 or something. There was a movie that I think we both liked that this filmmaker made, or maybe I watched it on my own. I don't remember now, but there's a new one from this filmmaker, and it's very much reminded me of After Sun and Blue Heron, two movies that I really like. It's very similar to those. Mark, I haven't let you speak. Hello.
It's okay. I'm now doing on-the-fly homework about
Yeah,
Carlos
what was that
Simone.
movie
So
called? Yeah,
it's called
God.
Summer 1993, and
Do you remember?
I don't think we covered it
Okay, then my
because
buddy
I don't
Tynan
see.
got it. Oh, that's a 2017 movie. Yeah, my buddy Tynan recommended I watch that movie. That's what happened. So
Well,
I did catch up with
I
that,
will have to
and I
check it
liked
out.
it. Yeah. So Spanish filmmaker, new film, Romeria. We'll talk about that. That's the last one. What else is going on, Mark? Besides the insane amount of movies we watched. Actually, what did you have? 3, 6, 9, 12 on your
Yeah,
website?
just 12. Just
There's
12.
2 more that I missed. One of them I've been meaning to catch up with, called Camp. It's like a horror-y mood piece. And then there's some
horror adjacent.
Okay, horror
That's probably
adjacent,
the best way to put it,
to use the new Flesh terminology. And then Bukra, which looks cool. Looks like, is it animated? What is this?
It is. Yeah, it's animated. So it's animated characters against real backdrops.
That sounds cool. It also reminds me,
It looks really good.
Didn't Disney do that with the movie Dinosaur in like 2000 or something?
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that's what the idea was, wasn't it?
Like, it was. And that was such a disappointing movie because they made the dinosaurs talk, and
that's right. That's what was
at
wrong
the
with
time.
it. Yeah.
At the time, it looked so good, and then
that's one of those things.
Talk, and it ruined it.
I remember I put that on recently. I don't remember where. It was on Disney Plus or something. I remember watching it recently to see how it looked and being like, this is an amazing time capsule thing, because at the moment that came out,
yeah,
it was the height of technology, and we were like blown away by the look of it. And you watch it now and you're like, this looks so fucking bad. It's like PS1 level. It's not good. But then the concept of just throwing digital and or animated stuff onto real backgrounds is a good idea, and has rarely been done well, but is, when it's done well, it works really well. Anyway, yeah. Mark didn't like that movie that much. Bukra.
Yeah,
which
both of those I gave 2.5 stars to. So
I
they're
do want
they're
to catch up
okay.
with them, and I might, but those are small enough that I don't think anyone will care. But let's get into it with Supergirl. Um, correct me if Superman. You also didn't like it, or you liked Superman?
Yeah, we both did
Yeah,
not like Superman, which turns out is a controversial opinion,
yeah.
apparently.
Really like Superman, the James Gunn movie, and you and I both didn't. I remember being delighted that you didn't like it too, and I was actually getting excited for Supergirl. Because I think her intro in Superman at the very end is like endearing and fun and makes it look like the next movie will be fun. And then I read the comic book that it's based on because my co-host of the New Flesh has been saying for years, like Woman of Tomorrow, Supergirl is the best comic book arc I've read in ages. And I read it. It's a comic book arc that lasted 10 issues, and now it's like collected in a graphic novel. You can get it at the library, you can buy it at Barnes and Noble, whatever. So I read it, and not
You can
only
rent
is
it
it
on Hoopla.
you
Sorry,
can rent it
which
on
it's on
Hoopla.
my Hoopla wish list. So
I
I'll
didn't
be
know that's
checking
a
that out
thing. What's
soon.
Hoopla?
Yeah,
Is Hoopla
Hoop Hoopla is
like
another.
Canopy?
It's like Canopy, but it also
Okay.
includes books, audiobooks, comic books
So you
that
don't
you
have
can
to
access
wait
on
for
your app.
you don't have to wait for the collections of graphic novels. You can just actually get comic books through there. That
Yeah,
sounds awesome.
it's awesome.
I need to get on Hoopla. I'm a big
Yep.
library person ever since I moved to an area with a great library. Even though I was in New York City, I just didn't really go to the library when I was there.
The city ones are so different.
It is.
Like the Chicago public library system is completely different.
It's like honestly overwhelming. It's just like there's too
Yeah.
much. This isn't what I need. But my very small little library in my neighborhood's great. But what was I saying? I was making a two-pronged
You're
point,
talking
right?
about the Supergirl Woman of
Oh, the
Tomorrow.
reasons why it's good. Yeah, or the why I was looking forward to it. Woman of Tomorrow, the book. I believe it's written by Tom King, who wrote like Paddington and shit, like the filmmaker. And the artist whose name I'm sorry I don't have off the top of my head, I'll get it. The artist who did that is like that's the highlight of that book. It's so beautiful and visually stunning that this movie being an eyesore, frankly, is the most disappointing aspect. And also, the story's so good on the page, you would never know that Krem is like an all-time great villain on the page and so menacing. And in the movie, he's just nothing, just a generic bad guy who I like the look of him, Mad Max style. But yeah, this movie basically, I feel like I would have already been disappointed with it if I didn't read the comic. But because I did, I was like extra, like, why did you adapt it if you're just going to make it a fetch quest about a dog that's poisoned instead? Anyway, here's the trailer for Supergirl with Millie Alcock.
Hey, I was just touching base to see when you think you might be coming back. You know, I'm just worried that you're not going to find your stride here if you keep going off-world all the time, Kara. I'm worried you're not going to find your people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Clark. I have no people. Home is wherever you are, buddy.
As I walk this land of road,
Crypto and I at least had each other.
I have visions of
Honestly, I thought we were lucky. But luck, almost by definition, runs out.
The James Gunn DC universe is really still going all in on the CGI dog at the center of everything. It's really wild because I get the idea. John Wick sparked a franchise with the death of a dog. People really care about that sort of thing. Do we have to bring back on-screen animal abuse, Mark? Because these CGI animals aren't working for me. They don't make me feel the emotion that I need to. So the old way worked. I'm just kidding. There's a reason they don't use animals anymore, etc. But that's not the biggest problem with this movie. Mark, take it away.
I should have gotten the dog from Anatomy of a Fall because that dog's an incredible actor. That would have worked really well. Yeah, Supergirl is a continuation of the new DC universe. It's not it's not seeming like a great idea right now. I actually wonder if this material required James Gunn's touch and if Superman might have benefited from Craig Gillespie's touch because this movie is a bit more sincere about what it's trying to do when it's trying to do it. Whereas Superman, the big problem for me was it was always ironic about the sincerity of Superman's character. There is always a joke going along with it. In this movie, where Supergirl is sort of an anti-hero at the start, who doesn't want to be a superhero, who just wants to get drunk because it's her birthday and she feels down and out and she doesn't know what she's doing. Maybe that required Gunn's sarcasm instead of Gillespie's more straightforward approach. But the movie is ostensibly about Supergirl. She's in it. She's
third fiddle in her own movie.
I know.
Like. Yeah.
I do too. Yeah, I feel that exact way. The main character really who drives the plot is a girl named Ruthie, played by Eve Ridley.
Which is how the comic starts, and the comic
I'm sure it
shifts
is. I'm
perspectives
sure it is.
between her and Supergirl and I think Krem too. I forget. But like the movie botches it so badly.
Yeah. So Ruthie wants to get revenge against Krem, played by Matthias Schoenaerts, who apparently shows that Jared Leto's Joker was huge in Belgium, because he's essentially copying Jared Leto's performance in Suicide Squad, which is a choice. He's boring as a villain, which is not entirely Schoenaerts' fault, but so Ruthie wants to kill him. Supergirl, Kara,
the way he just shows up too is frustrating. It's like, yes, they didn't do any sort of let's craft a good reason for them to interact. It's just, oh, look who's here. It's Krem.
Here's the bad guy. He just showed up, and you better figure out what he wants and what he's doing, because we're not going to explain it to you. He's a space pirate and also a child trafficker, apparently. Anyway, Supergirl Kara is in the movie, but she's not driving the plot. Eventually Krem shoots Crypto with a poison dart, so she's got to find the antidote. That's how she kind of gets involved in the plot. And then Lobo, played by Jason Momoa, occasionally shows up and takes over the movie whenever he shows up, for reasons that are completely baffling to me. It looks a lot of times it feels like Momoa's scenes were shot after the movie was completed and they realized, hey, we can get Jason Momoa to play Lobo now.
Like, yeah, he's been begging to play Lobo, and I feel like they don't want to make a Lobo movie, so they shoehorned him in here, and boy, does it feel like he was shoehorned.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The reaction shots of Millie Alcock just reacting, the close-ups of her reacting to what Lobo does are so generic. It really does feel like it was connected to something else that was happening, and they're just, we could use that. We could use that take as a Lobo reaction. It's awkward. This movie really needs a lot more Supergirl if it's going to work as a Supergirl movie. I have been throughout the Marvel stuff, I've been annoyed with how many other things interrupt or get involved in what are supposed to be the one-off movies about a specific character. And right now the DC universe is starting off throwing everything at the screen and just hoping that something sticks. Superman, beyond the irony and the sarcasm, the big problem with it was it had an entire other team of superheroes who were there and kind of overshadowed Superman at times. And this one, it's this other character, this villain, and Lobo who overshadows Supergirl. And I like what Alcock is doing with this character. I think it's an interesting performance. I think it's completely different from what Helen Slater did back in '84, and she was playing it sincere and naive, and I think that performance worked. But I think Alcock's performance is different, and it's interesting, but the movie doesn't trust her or the character, and it's frustrating.
It ends up being such a nothing experience overall. Like, I'm like, what did we gain here? What was this movie? I like the idea of her being, on a intergalactic bar crawl because she only gets drunk on planets that have red suns. It's like a good place to meet a character that's an anti-hero, or that like they're framing as this person who's supposed to be a hero, but she's so doomed by her tragedy and her tragic past that she can't really get past it. But then, yeah, the movie just gets far away from her, even though, again, the source material is so good. It just feels like, wow, you really botched this. What's most strange to me, Mark, is the way the movie just plays like it's all Star Wars Cantina Band scenes, one after the other. Just keep entering like Mos Eisley bars, and there's different creatures, and some of them are cool practical effect makeup stuff, and all that stuff does is show you how bad the movie looks the rest of the time for me. Like, I'm just like, oh, look, a burst of a cool set and a cool monster. and then it's just like digital backgrounds that are with the sun blaring in your face, the digital sun. And I hated the way the movie looks. I hated the way Superman looked. And those little flashes of creativity just make the rest of it stand out. And you're right. Supergirl not only doesn't get to be the star of her own movie, she also doesn't get to do anything super. I couldn't tell you a single like memorable action moment in this movie because the action is so incoherent and barely there and half-assed. And truly my impression of Supergirl in this movie is her just like floating above a scene and looking down in a bad CGI, a bad green screen background. It just looks bad. And
how have they not improved flying effects since
I know
the 70s and 80s? How has that not? And in some ways it looks worse, I think, than some of those original Superman and the original Supergirl movie at times. It's like that looks clearly fake, but my brain is saying we should be better at this point, and so it kind of looks worse than you can understand in the 80s why Helen Slater doesn't look like she's flying. But at this point, you should be able to make it somewhat convincing.
I feel like it's the video gamification of CGI where it's like the Unreal Engine is used on this stuff, and you end up with like rubbery characters instead of whatever they used to do to make that shit work. It just looks bad now. It's noted. Like, I think the example of the high watermark is Gore Verbinski's Pirates of the Caribbean sequels, right? Where like Davy Jones or whatever looks so good and real. And like it's 20 years ago and it's gotten worse because of the way we make it now. It's really horrible. But anyway,
the work on that you can tell they cared about the textures of the character. They cared about trying to make it look like a physical thing that just happened to be CGI.
I was gonna say I can't think of a movie series that still cares about that stuff. And I guess the Planet of the Apes movies is like the only one.
Oh yes,
yeah, because those movies look amazing. But every other big budget movie that's like all supposed to be visual, like but that both Marvel and DC movies now look like this. Fucking sucks.
It does.
It really does. I'm sorry to use the F-bomb.
I think you could excuse it if the tone of it was a bit more fun or just anything, maybe. But then again, Superman had tried to be more fun and the effects looked like that and it didn't justify it either. So I don't know.
And like, Mark, this movie I already mentioned the Star Wars territory that it's in, but like when you're doing that kind of stuff and you're doing all the needle drops that this movie's doing, are you not just doing another Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, it just becomes Guardians of the Galaxy.
Another reason I was thinking James Gunn might have been better for this one if this is what it's going to do.
Yeah. So, like, it's doing all those things. It's clearly trying to do Mad Max with, like, the way the villains look and also, like, the trafficking plot that ends up being a part of it. But, like, the reason Mad Max works is because it's the peak of spectacle. It's the best thing ever. So when you're referencing that and just not delivering anything, I'm just like, none of this stuff... You didn't need any of this stuff because the story on the page of World of Tomorrow, I don't know if you clocked this from the movie because it's so bad at it, Mark, but like it's just doing True Grit. It's just doing like Ruthie is Maddie and Supergirl is the John Wayne or whatever, the Rooster Cogburn character. It's just doing that and it's doing it really well. And everyone has a good motivation and you really get everyone's backstory. You do feel that Krem is a horrible, scary guy. And this movie just abandons all that for the dumbest shit. Like making crypto the center of it for no reason other than like she gets a fetch quest to go get an antidote. It's embarrassing. I was embarrassed. Honestly.
Those flashbacks feel shoehorned in just because you need to get the origin story in. But if the movie doesn't care enough about the main character, why even bother with those origin story beats?
And the origin story is kind of just Superman's origin. It's like it's not that different.
Exactly.
It's not that different. It's the same. It's like a few months later or whatever, years later. I don't know.
Yeah,
but like
it is. Yeah, a chunk of Krypton got separated from the planet.
Right. And they're like living onward, right?
David Krumholtz is really good, though.
I whispered to my buddy before he was clear that it was him. Like, is that David Krumholtz? What the hell? And
it took a while. I'm
delighted.
Like, that is, and his performance is really good.
It's the best performance in the movie by far. Also, there's an uncredited Seth Rogen voice role. That's like, I guess, funny.
I found that funny. I found that bit funny.
Yeah, that was a funny bit. I was laughing. I think it's funny like when you're not expecting Seth Rogen and his voice is there. You're like, oh, that was kind of. He must be a fan of, I think he's a comic guy. And he just was like, I'll do that. Sure. So I don't know. Industry headwinds suggest superhero movies are kind of over. And this DC James Gunn reboot was supposed to kind of reinvigorate it. And with this 1-2 punch of Superman and Supergirl, I think all they've proved is that everything is Marvel now. Even DC is just like doing the too many things going on. And the worst of all, why I say it is Marvel now is the way they look. They just look like they're all made in warehouses to do pre-visualized sequences that they do in post, that they, fill in later. So I was quite disappointed with this because I think it's a really strong source material to make a superhero movie with. And instead they did just a Guardians of the Galaxy style thing where the main character feels like she's sidelined for Jason Momoa's Lobo to show up for literally no reason. You could excise his character, nothing changes. He just is a superfluous bounty hunter character who shows up.
Completely take him out.
And if if you read trades and you follow this stuff, you know that he's been talking about he wanting to do Lobo. So it's clearly just an example of like an executive somewhere said, you can't have a movie starring a lady. Like get Lobo, we need another guy in here. Like get a guy in there. It feels like executive meddling or something. It's like, this is just a bad idea on its face. Like they're clearly scared of something. Because I know people online are obviously like misogynist and horrible about this type of thing. And it's unfortunate that they like capitulate to those people and try to when they're never going to like it anyway. So it sucks. 2 stars for me. And that's, I think, kind of me.
Yeah. The loudest people. Never listen to the loudest people. Because
that's how
so
you get
few of them.
The rise of Skywalker or whatever.
Exactly. You get the rise of Skywalker that way. You get Lobo taking over Supergirl's stuff in the Supergirl movie. And you end up with a DC universe that doesn't even have any post-credit scenes because I guess they don't have anything to tease in the future.
They got nothing.
So, they got nothing. It's so... I don't know what
Clayface could be cool because it's completely unconnected and it's like a horror movie they keep describing as this insane body horror thing. I hope that's good, but other than that, I know Gunn just made another Superman movie. He did Man of Tomorrow, is what it's called, and I feel like after this bombs, which I think it will. Like, are people even going to show up to that? I feel like this even taints.
I don't know.
It tars Superman. People even like Superman. The way he appears in this makes it feel low rent too. Like I just don't like when people appear on Zoom and like the first time you see him is on a video call, and I'm just like, this is low rent. Like I hated when I saw Matthew Lillard on a phone call in Scream 7, and I hate it just as much here.
Yeah, and I liked David Corenswet in Superman. I think he could have been a good Superman, and I forgot why watching his scenes in this because they are just awkwardly thrown in too.
Yeah.
So 2 stars from me, Brett, also for Supergirl. The future of superhero movies in general is going to be interesting. I mean, the Spider-Man movie is going to do well because everybody loves Spider-Man, and that's going to throw everybody off.
It's an
I don't think everybody realized everybody loves Spider-man.
Yeah,
everybody in the world loves Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a fantastic, one of the best comic book.
And then I think Batman has a similar, lesser,
same thing,
thing, but a little lesser. It'll do fine. And then that could lead executives to be like, "Oh, they're back. It's fine."
They don't realize it's the characters and it's what they do with those characters. Matt Reeves, with the Batman, did something really special.
And I'm glad we're finally getting part 2. It's being made right now. Avengers Endgame. I know people are like, it's going to make billions of dollars still. I'm like, no, I don't think it is. I do think it's over.
I don't think so either.
I don't think it's going to make much money. I think people are it's going to get panned. It's going to look like all these movies look. It's going to look like garbage. And I think
I don't know what it's going to be like. I'm not going to jump the gun. I don't think it's going to do well at the box office just because I do think
that's
Marvel
all I'm saying.
Yeah. But in terms of what the quality of the movie, I'm going to hold out until I actually see it.
Well,
obviously.
Sure.
But I
haven't seen. I don't know how I'm
going
to get in because I haven't seen I haven't seen the. I walked out of Age of Ultron and I never went back.
I don't even. Okay. Well, you probably. Jeez, I don't even know what. Wow. Okay.
It's a lot. I know. I went back in on the one-offs, but I didn't see the one of the 2 Avengers after that. I haven't seen them.
Infinity War and Endgame.
Right.
It's Doomsday is coming out. That's what threw me off. What do you say? Doomsday is
see, I don't even know.
So your homework probably wouldn't be that bad. You just need to catch up with the mainline movies.
Just
probably.
The mainline super long ones.
And there aren't that many. You have until like December.
I know this Avengers Endgame was like a big theatrical event and stuff, but I feel will it hold up? Like if watch it now, will it be any good? I feel like people were really high on it. I have no idea.
I thought it was okay. I thought Infinity War was okay. You're going to be I'm interested to see how you think about Infinity War.
I also have to watch
because the way it ends.
Oh, really? Okay.
The way Infinity War ends is very daring.
Huh. Well, then they undo it. I feel like whatever.
Yes, exactly. That's the problem with that.
I feel like I know all this stuff from the future movies.
I know.
I'm constantly referencing it, but Yeah, I guess I gotta watch them eventually, and I will also be watching apparently Enola Holmes 1 and 2 ahead of next week because Enola Holmes
they're
3
good.
Are they?
They are.
Okay.
2 is pretty good, like even better than the first one. So if you're like,
okay,
I mean, this is bad. If you're iffy on the first one, the second one is an improvement over it.
Well, I got all 3
I
to
still
watch.
like them both.
I'm looking forward to my Enola Holmes trilogy. Anyway, let's talk about Jackass Best and Last. This is a movie that was added to the calendar very late. It was only a few months ago they announced it, and you can kind of see how and why this all happened, but I'm very glad it exists. Here's the trailer for Jackass Best and Last, which is a best of in the sense that it's a clip show of greatest hits throughout the whole series and the TV show. But they also have enough never before seen old footage that is new and exciting. And there's like, I think they filmed, I heard on a podcast, 5 days of new stuff. And the new stuff is fun. So here's the trailer for Jackass Best and Last.
In this movie were performed by professionals.
Hi, I'm Wee Man.
I'm Bam Margera.
I'm Preston Lacey.
I'm Chris Pontius.
So for your safety and the protection of those around you,
I'm Dave England. I'm Danger Eric. I'm Steve.
I'm Ryan Dunn.
do not attempt any of the stunts you have just seen.
Hello, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Hello, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Hello, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass.
Welcome to the first day of our last film. What are you feeling? I'm sad. Does it make you sad, Chris?
No, I'm not in touch with my emotions.
I would like to introduce you to our new cast member, Larry.
Nice to meet you all. Big fans.
Oh my gosh, he got you.
Give me a bucket of water so I can throw it on Larry.
I know Steve-O has that whole monologue about trying to be the MVP of this movie. And maybe he is. But I do think the robot might be the MVP. The robot gets to do a lot of funny stuff. They got comedian Adam Ray to basically do the voice of the robot and do funny commentary. And it works. I gotta admit. Mark, tell me about this movie.
It is the last Jackass movie. I believe it's going to be the last Jackass movie because there's no reason to think that they would put together this clip show format unless it's going to be the last one. Because the one thing Johnny Knoxville is not is lazy. So I really do think he can't do this stuff anymore. And he's making a point of that at this point. And everyone else probably shouldn't be doing this stuff anymore. It's exactly what you said it is. Best of from the show and best of from the movies. Unaired stuff that wasn't aired, I think, for good reason. I actually questioned a couple of that first thing. I was watching it. I knew Johnny Knoxville lived, but I was terrified watching
It's genuinely the most tense, one of the most tense things I've seen in the theater in years. It was the cameraman being like, this is a bad idea. I hate this. Like, stop. It was crazy.
Stop doing this. You should just stop doing it. And they put that disclaimer at the bottom, like, do not do this. This is incredibly stupid. Do not do this. And there's a good reason they put that disclaimer at the bottom of the screen the entire time. Because like nobody should do that. It's one of the
boundary pushing almost. I can't believe they actually put this out in a movie, even. Like there was a reason MTV didn't put it on the air. And so the fact that they're putting the fact that they're putting it arguably on a wider swath to show people.
No,
but with the context of, I guess, hindsight, whatever. I don't know. I was genuinely shocked by that. And the other moment where they're like, Chris Pontius is like, well, I don't know. At first I was like, why would they not let this one happen? Then they're like, it's the most imitatable thing on earth. And it was them packing Johnny Knoxville into a box and throwing him downstairs. And
concrete stairs.
It looks so bad.
Yeah.
So bad. Anyway, that stuff is genuinely a joy to see, even though it's terrifying.
Yeah, you understand why they didn't air those. But it is nice to see it. And it's nice to see it within this context of the last ride. These guys are I was not expecting to just find the movie to be so warm with all these friendships and just how close they are. The fact that everybody can, make fun of Johnny and Knoxville for doing Fear Factor now. Like, did you do that for the money, or is it really because it's going to be creatively
while he's tied to like
he's tied to an electric chair?
Yeah. Like if he's lying, it'll get him. Yeah, it's great. It was such a
good bit. The good thing about it being a compilation is that it is the best of stuff. So everything that is old that's in here is something that's funny or shocking or absolutely disgusting, and it gets a reaction out of you, and that's exactly what Jackass should do. And then I think for me, it pushed it over the edge just because I really did get a sense of these guys loving what they're doing and loving doing it with their friends, and that
Except
this is
for
just a
Danger Aaron, who I think does
yes.
not enjoy
Oh,
doing
him running off into the night is that's great.
It was unbelievable. He just the how much footage they had of him running was great. He just kept going. It was so funny.
Kept going. Also a good fit. Yep.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. And there was unaired footage from the last movie from 2022 because they did film with Bam Margera for a little bit for the fourth movie, but there were issues with his sobriety and whatnot, and he got kicked off the movie. It's a sad story, but he's actually doing well now. Well enough where he agreed to let them use the footage from the last movie. So there is actually a great Bam sequence that from Jackass Forever. That's an extended version of that scene from that movie, which is the Silence of the Lambs bit where they turn off the lights and there's people with night vision fucking with them. It's super funny, but they get Bam again in like the way that Bam does not want to be got specifically. And I mean, if you feel bad for him, but God, is it funny when he's like, I'm snake bit or whatever. He's like, I'm bit or whatever. Like he genuinely believes it. It's so fucked up. And like, even, oh God, how Knoxville breaks. Do you think Knoxville breaks for him to help him? But it's just leading him to the fucking door with the other bullshit.
With the worst, with the other bad stuff in it. Yeah.
That whole scene playing out with the new Bam footage really makes it great. And paired with the Aaron stuff in the excuse me, the what's it called? The something from hell.
The
escape room from hell. Paired with that, it's just like Aaron got the brunt of everything in the last one, and also when he's shocked, the marionette thing is very funny too. So yeah, all the new stuff is good. All the unaired stuff that you've never seen is actually transgressive and boundary pushing and crazy, and you go, holy shit. And then by the end, when it has the credits and it has the special thanks and they're thanking Tom and Jerry and Buster Keaton, it's really, to me, it's like, I don't know. There is something to this to me that is more than the sum of its parts and the juvenileness. Like it's like,
yeah, there's something more to it.
Something more to it. There's something base. There's something so base about watching people debase themselves or hurt themselves for entertainment. And this was like a huge pop culture thing. At some point in time, there were Congress people trying to get it banned from MTV, and now there are articles about how it's an example of positive masculinity. So like, it's really interesting for me to see how it's changed as society, as they've grown up and stuff like that. Now they're doing stunts that are colonoscopy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. It's like they're growing up, they're in their 50s, and now they have to worry like, okay, well, let's do something with a prostate exam. It's almost like a PSA. I mean, it's a robot with peanut butter on its claw, but so I mean, funny. It's kind of a thing. No,
it's a funny. It's well done, well executed. And I was skeptical of Adam Ray, who's just a very funny comedian who does a lot of characters. He tours around as Dr. Phil, comedic version.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's very funny. But like, I was like, what is he doing in this? And then when it's revealed he's just doing the voice of the robot, it works. He's funny.
He's very funny. He improvises a lot of great lines that just come out of nowhere from that robot.
Yeah. I lost my license a few months ago or whatever. It's, you have to go in knowing it's like not a brand new experience.
Yeah. And also you need to know this is not for everybody. If you have never seen Jackass and you don't like people getting hurt, people hurting
puking,
themselves,
shitting, penises.
Yeah. Lots of actual feces going everywhere.
Dude,
like, it's
the Twister,
everywhere.
The Twister game is
absolutely
disgusting. That's like,
it is off. It is horrible.
Just too much. And I do feel bad for Rachel Wolfson. I guess maybe I shouldn't, because she doesn't have to. In the movie, she does nothing. She's in the background. And she appears in scenes just in the background watching the stunts. She does nothing. I would imagine she did some stuff and they just didn't put it in the movie. So I feel bad for her. But, she's the only female in Jackass history. She did some stuff in the last one, and she really gets shafted here. I felt bad for her. But other than that, I have no notes. It's the Brad Pitt abduction. Seeing that again is just insane to consider that they did that. And There was one guy when they kidnapped Brad Pitt off the street that like tries to stop them legitimately. It's all, I just love Jackass so much. So I really enjoyed seeing, even though I've seen pretty much all the old clips except for the brand new ones that they showed us on like DVD bonus features, like the bad grandpa thing with his balls. So like, but even seeing that in a crowd with people all laughing who probably haven't seen it before, like I was like, this is a great idea to put this in theaters and do one last hurrah, even though they, probably spend like $1 million filming for a few days. So it's like extra money for Paramount to just make this clip show and put it in theaters. But it's not a crass money grab. It does feel like an earnest, heartfelt send off. So 3 stars for me. I had a great time.
Yep, 3 stars for me too for Jackass Best and Last. I was not expecting that.
And Mark has had a journey from 0 to 3,
from 0 to 3 to
back to 2. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember how it went, but I've been all over the place. But I think it's this one was worthwhile.
Society caught up with them in terms of their brilliant art. That's how I feel. Anyway, next up, Olivia Wilde's 3rd film as a director. The script is written by Will McCormick and Rashida Jones. Yes, that one. And it stars Edward Norton, Penelope Cruz, Seth Rogen, and Olivia Wilde. And Olivia Wilde has never been better, I think, both in front of and behind the camera. She is so funny in this, and it's a well-directed movie. So here's the trailer for The Invite.
Hey. Hi, come in.
Nice to see you.
We are so happy you're here.
Are we expecting people? Can we put curtains on this window? I don't like how they can see into our apartment. This shirt, it's nice. It looks really good on you.
Well, you could tell me that once in a while.
Take them off?
I don't give a fuck if you take your shoes off.
For me, no gluten, no dairy, no meat, no sugar.
Oh, no.
There's something I've been wanting to talk to you about.
We also have something we wanted to talk to you about.
Now I'm like, what am I supposed to reveal about this movie? Mark, I'll throw that burden to you.
Thank you so much. A movie that revolves entirely around what do the neighbors want? Why are they there? So it is a comedy about Seth Rogen and Olivia Wilde. They play a married couple whose marriage is not doing well, and you could tell right away. They're arguing and bickering and yelling at each other about a dinner party that Wilde's character has set up with neighbors upstairs, played by Penelope Cruz and Edward Norton. And Seth Rogen's character really, really does not want this to happen. And it happens anyway, and it's very uncomfortable and awkward because Rogen doesn't want the 2 neighbors to be there. The 2 neighbors are just very nice people. They're very calm. You get set up. I really like the way that it sets up all these gags, and it kind of subverts them, but it also tells you exactly what you're going to be expecting. So the fact that you're kind of thinking Norton and Cruz's characters are going to be like this horror show of whatever, and they're just going to be uncomfortable and awkward and all this stuff. No, they're genuinely nice people, and they want to have a good time. So there's a lot of comedy there. And then when the movie reveals what it's about, what it's really about, there are 2 things I think that it reveals it's really about. The first is what the plan is with the 2 neighbors. And the second thing is what the movie is actually about, which is about the marriage and what's going on there. I think both of those work really well in different ways. I think it's very funny and awkward. I wish the movie had maybe pushed it a little bit further when it got to the big reveal and did something actually subversive or did something or other, but it's kind of playing it safe. But man, when it gets to that last beat with what everything is going on with these characters and their lives and what's I found it really sincere and
it's totally affecting and sweet. I really enjoyed that as well. I also Olivia Wilde kind of blew me away in this movie. She's so funny.
Very funny.
Just like her reactions to stuff are like some of the biggest laughs. When there's like a sex thing happening and the first thing out of her mouth is thank you so much for this. Like there's just something about her character and the way she would like to be perceived versus the way she is, and how it's just like it's really smart character work that you like get right away from their bickering and what they're hiding from one another, and the way she says, I told you they're coming over, and what really happened there, like everything. It's a really clever script. And I do want to acknowledge that it is a remake of it's a Spanish movie
from Spain.
Yeah. So what's crazy is it's been remade, I think, in 9 other countries already since 2020.
There are a couple of movies that will happen, and you realize, oh, this idea is huge. It was a big deal, but you never heard of it.
Yeah, I wonder if the original writer is just like raking the hell.
Oh,
in all
probably.
this
If it's been remade in 9 different countries, yes. Yeah.
So
because it was a play originally.
Yeah. I would say it's definitely a comedy, but it's definitely also like a smart movie about marriage and intimacy and complacency and what we want versus what we put outward, I guess, and what we hide from our spouses and things we don't talk about and what's taboo and how sex even can be taboo within a marriage and why that is. And it's just really compelling and funny. And you haven't seen Edward Norton in a role this good in ages, and he's so funny as the kind of the straight character is a firefighter named Hawk. Is that right? Did I remember that correctly?
Yes, Hawk.
Very funny. Penelope Cruz is great. Everyone's great. Seth Rogen's never been better than he is here. Like he's doing a Seth Rogen-y thing, but it's really good.
That moment when he's alone with Cruz, the way that he just alters his laugh just a bit to not be the Seth Rogen laugh. You could kind of hear it, but it's more like, you're alone in a room with Penelope Cruz, and that's how Seth Rogen's gonna laugh in that situation.
Yep, exactly.
It's really good stuff.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with this movie. It has a nice visual style to it. It looks really nice. I think it was shot on film. They're definitely showing it on 35 millimeter in New York, so I hope it was shot on film. Otherwise, it's very silly to do that. Anyway, yeah, it's Olivia Wilde's best work. I think it's a filmmaker. She's made Booksmart and Don't Worry, Darling. This is her best yet and her best performance as well. She's really, really great in it. 3 stars for me for The Invite.
3 stars from me as well for The Invite. There we go.
Perfect. Next up, we have a Netflix original comedy, I guess you'd call it. Ostensibly, I think this is
very
generous. Funny.
Very generous of you.
It's the John Cena, Eric Andre vehicle called Little Brother. It made me feel really bad for Michelle Monaghan, though she did sign on to do the movie. But man, is this beneath her, in my opinion? But I know she's been doing streaming crap for years, so whatever. Here's the trailer for Little Brother.
Hello. Oh my God. My brother was in a car accident. Is he okay? He will be. It was quite an accident. He was very lucky. Who the fuck is this? I don't believe it, but I think that's my little brother from a charity thing in high school. Yeah, I barely remember.
Brother? Is that you?
He obviously doesn't have anywhere else to go. Maybe you can stay with us for a night or 2.
What?
Just
Get in here!
Just me and you.
Is this really my life? Don't mean the same thing. How I'm driving a car! He's not my actual brother. Good morning. But the timing on this could be worse. I start shooting tomorrow.
We should cut. There's a guy pissing all over the car out there, and he shattered the window. And a car drove by and ripped the door off.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm Rudd's little brother.
All right. I'm surprised this isn't one of those from one of the Farrelly brothers movies. It has the energy of a Ricky Stenicki, or what was the other one that just came out? It just feels like it was one of those.
Oh, how did I forget?
I couldn't
Balls
tell you.
Up.
Balls Up. That's another one. Yeah, it's just kind of juvenile, crass, but the premise is funny enough, or the premise is base enough where it could be funny if you cast it right and you write it correctly. But this one, I like Eric Andre, I like John Cena, but there's just nothing here that's particularly funny, and they just go for raunchy stuff, and it's not funny, in my opinion, for the joke to be Michelle Monaghan's eating John Cena's ass. It's just embarrassing. It's not funny.
It's incredibly embarrassing.
Yeah,
because it's so convoluted. The steps, the number of steps that it takes for that scene to happen.
I know, and like the
it's
character,
insane.
it's so unbelievable. Like the character, like
So
being
unbelievable.
like, yeah, sure, I'll take that advice from this homeless, insane person that is in our life now.
And
Like
she
all that
like
stuff.
she has to accept this man as being a good and decent man, even though there's and to invite him into her home to actually sit down and have intimate conversations with him about her marriage, and then to actually take his advice to do that. And then also just the logistics of the scene where they're in the car and then she has to get him onto the side of the road, but not away from view, so that the payoff for that, it's the whole movie is like that, where you're just trying to figure out, how did you get to this? How did you get to this? And the number of completely contrived and absurd things that have to happen for those jokes to be set up is nuts. And none of it makes any sense. And it contradicts itself all the time. I don't know. It starts off with Eric Andre's character in a psychiatric ward, and you think, oh, this at least, it's not a great thing, but at least it kind of makes sense. And then you realize, no, that's not what it is. He's actually incredibly charming, to the point where he can't be the character that he sets up. He can't be the socially awkward guy, because otherwise, how does he do half of the stuff that he does in this movie? It makes no sense. And I mean, comedies don't always have to make sense, but they have to at least have some kind of consistency in what the jokes are supposed to be. This is awful. It's awful.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, I've given passes to a lot of John Cena era streaming era comedies. I think Ricky Snicki has some funny stuff in it, but like there's really not a lot to latch on to here. There's really nothing that made me laugh. I mean, that scene that's in the trailer of him pissing in the car is probably the funniest thing in the movie, but it's not that funny. It's just
because it's
over the top. Yeah.
That's another thing. Like, he takes those instructions not to get out of the car and not to touch anything in the car so literally that he gets stuck in that situation. But then for all the other stuff to happen, he has to break those rules, because he does touch the car and he does get out of the car so that all this other stuff can happen. It makes no sense. It's so dumb. It's so dumb, and not in a funny way.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you like a dumb juvenile raunchy comedy, there are better ones out there. I'm just gonna
so many better ones.
Yeah, I'll give it the 1.5 stars.
I'm giving it half a star, Brett.
Wow. I mean, yeah,
I don't see
get that. I get that.
Yeah,
you don't see any merit to it.
I didn't laugh. I could not comprehend how some of those jokes were devised. Michelle Monaghan is just completely debased here, not necessarily because of what she does, but just because the character is so just pliable and it's clearly there for the joke. And
which would be fine in a comedy that's funny, but it's just not funny enough to justify what it's doing, I guess. I hope it was fun to make for everybody. Yeah, they could have.
You could have pulled that off. You could have, but man, it's just
Yeah, I'm with you on the Let's talk about a movie we're going to disagree on, I think, a little bit. Let's talk about Rod Lurie's Lucky Strike, starring Scott Eastwood, which is, just another World War II movie with a very, I don't even want to say generic, just a premise we've seen before. It's guy behind enemy lines, kind of lone survivor of a incident, has to survive. Based on a true story, but probably liberties taken. But I thought it was a well-directed exercise, and Mark disagrees, I think. So we'll talk about it. Here's the trailer.
Yes, that's all over me.
We cannot get to you. Godspeed, Captain.
German counteroffensive has been going on for 3 days. We need you to block that road this morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go.
Come on.
Sorry, sir. You do realize we have 400 pounds of explosives back there, right, Murph?
It's the 1st SS Panzer Division coming down that road. You boys have never fought anything like them.
Reminiscing about the beaches of Puerto Rico, Ram? From the Upper West Side, Miller. Taking New York winter over this.
All right, Mark. Tell me about Lucky Strike, a movie that depicts the Battle of the Bulge and an incident within it.
think the Battle of the Bulge is where they got the inspired by true events. I think it's just
That's
the
all it
Battle
is,
of the Bulge was a thing. I think that's what it was because I
And
think we
that's
would have
where
heard
it
of this
begins
guy.
and ends. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think we would have heard of the guy who
The most lucky heroic man of
the
yeah,
the
right.
luckiest soldier ever,
Yeah.
who just is involved in this plan to destroy the main road through the forest where the Nazis are going to be coming through. All of his team is killed off except for him, and he has to find his way back to a rendezvous point in the heat of battle, and with the SS just infiltrating everywhere and killing off anybody, and he has to survive and get to this rendezvous point. And I I don't know. I found it very generic. I didn't think the action scenes were staged that well. I think Eastwood can be effective as an actor, but I think in some of these scenes where he's just putting on this air of being overwhelmed by everything, it really does just feel like pantomime more than an actual performance. It's just he's just kind of going through the motions of what he needs to show than actually feeling it. And I don't know. I wasn't convinced by the story. I wasn't convinced by the character. I was definitely not convinced by where it ultimately goes, where it doesn't even there's a flash forward scene at the beginning that tells you that his character survives and he's going to be in this other situation,
Right.
and you eventually realize why he's there. And apparently the most important thing in this movie is an inanimate object and not any of the human characters. So I found it kind of unconvincing on every level.
I mean, yeah, I think it's unconvincing in the sense that you can tell it's kind of cheap, like cheaper than most war movies would be, and that it has that like washed out look to it or something. But I think they get around that because Rod Lurie's how would you define him as a director? Like a journeyman studio director. He's done a lot of stuff. Like he used to direct stuff like The Contender and The Last Castle. And then he did like The Senior for Angel Studios last year. I feel like
pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. And I feel like having a director who's a veteran director, not a literal veteran, because we're talking about war. I want to be clear.
Yeah.
Just a director who has worked as a director for a long time. It has I thought the sequences were well staged. Like, for example, when he's like, I think it's like him like crawling on hands and knees in a trench somewhere, and then there's guys, with a gun, and he like sneaks up on them, and the camera follows him and then kind of shows where they are. Like, I thought that it was well staged throughout, and all those sequences made up for their, cheapness by being well staged. So like, I don't think this is anything great, but I was like, for a movie that I've seen a million times, Behind Enemy Lines, Lone Survivor, whatever, it was a good enough, and I was entertained by it. And I didn't have the problems you had with it, where I was just like taken out of it by various elements. So I don't know. Eastwood's fine. Doesn't really have any.
Yeah, that's
doesn't
what
really,
I'm saying.
Doesn't really add much to it. Doesn't really take away much. He's just kind of there, and maybe that's something to critique. But like, I don't know. I was fine with it. I had a good time with it. I expected it to be chintzy and shitty, and it was just better made than I expected it to be, even though it is definitely a cheaper movie.
I like Lurie as a director. You brought up some of his better movies. I mean, he started off with Deterrence. That was something that he just did on his own. The Contender was obviously something that he had in his head, which is a great movie.
Yeah.
Even The Last Castle, I think that was something he worked with off of somebody else, but it's really well directed. I even like The Outpost. That was his last war movie that had Scott Eastwood, and that was more of a modern thing. And that has some really well staged action, especially near the end. This one, I was surprised that it's him directing it because it just feels so generic. And that washed out look that you brought up, yeah, it really doesn't sell what's going on.
It's like
I get that it's
like,
yeah,
I want to say it's sepia tone, but it's wrong. It's like not.
It's not.
Tone. It's like
it's
uglier. It's than that.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's cool and gray. That's really what it is. It's just gray. And I mean, it works with it's the Battle of the Bulge, just winter in the forest. The color scheme works, but there's a lot of times also you think it's just kind of hiding some bad special effects that are going on in the background too. That it's not just to make it look right. It's also just practical to cover up the fact that this was made on the cheap, unfortunately, and it kind of looks that way.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 3-star pass. I thought it was good enough. I'm surprised you feel strongly enough How you can tell me what you're gonna rate it? So
Brett, I'm giving it 1.5 stars. I really just didn't find it
Yeah.
convincing at all, and
That's surprising to me. I thought it was better than.
I'm surprised you liked it, but
I mean, it's fine. Like I didn't love it. I was just like expecting
I
it
get
to be
it.
something that I toss
I
off.
wasn't saying you think it's one of the best movies of the year, but I'm also surprised that I didn't find, like, you brought up one specific action scene, which is that it's the bunker in the very beginning of the movie when the team is getting killed off by the machine guns and they have to flank that turret that they not the turret, but that stronghold they have set up. Like, yeah, that's fine, but then there's all the other action scenes where there's a lot of muddy staging. That one scene where he's playing dead.
Yes.
And it's all close up. And that's an interesting idea, except that a big section of that involves what he's doing off camera, and it just doesn't play right. It doesn't, there's something off about that. I get the idea of what he's doing.
Yeah, they don't have any money.
You lose sense of what's actually happening. It's weird. I don't know.
Fair enough. This is a wide gap, but I don't feel super strongly in convincing people to go see it or anything.
I don't feel super strongly in general. I don't think
Mm.
it's good. I think it's poorly made. It's not, I didn't hate it. Like, it's not like Little Brother. Little Brother is awful. I have plenty of awful things to say about this. I just think this is a overly generic war movie that could have been better. And it almost, I don't know. Eastwood, you're right. He's fine, but it is clearly stunt casting when it's the son of Clint Eastwood and also Colin Hanks has like a one scene cameo.
Yeah.
And those are two actors who are, associated with war movies.
Yes.
So it's just stunt nepo casting just to make you think, like, wouldn't it be cool if Tom Hanks and Clint Eastwood somehow made a World War II movie? This is what we're going to get instead.
Yeah. Yeah, those are all fair points. I thought it was better than Mark's making it out to be, but definitely no great shakes. So maybe check it out when it hits streaming. Definitely not you need to rush to the theater to see it kind of thing. But I'm giving it
is in theaters.
Yes. I'm giving it a reluctant 3 stars, but it's still a 3 stars. So there you go. Okay. Let's continue. I think we'll agree on this one, probably. This one's The Get Out. It's not Jordan Peele's Get Out. It's called The Get Out. It stars Russell Crowe. It's directed by this is frequent collaborator, the guy who did Unhinged, the movie I drove to New Jersey to see when COVID was happening because the theaters were closed in New York, but they were open in New Jersey. And Unhinged was like the first movie that got thrown out. Was it March or April? I don't remember when.
I don't remember when. I just remember it was a big deal that they were
2020
screener for it.
Yeah, I remember watching it and thinking it was hilarious.
I like that one.
It's Russell Crowe as Eric Cartman. It's great. He's so angry and yelling the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Here's The Get Out. He plays an Albanian nightclub owner in this one. Here's the trailer.
Imagine all the negative energy in your life.
Why? I am Manko Kepak.
Evening, boss. Are we good?
I am from Albania. I run a nightclub. It's a good job. Some stress.
Don't mess it up, amigo.
But not too much.
Time to let all the negativity go. Feel yourself growing lighter.
You suffered a cardiac incident, and if you don't make some very serious adjustments, well, you will die.
She said I have too much stress. Look at this.
Hey, you mother...
Sorry. Maybe
that reminded me how strange this movie was. It's a weird movie. I was kind of into it for a while, and then I just didn't. It has too much going on. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it starts off strong just because it is about Russell Crowe's character, he's Albanian and he owns a nightclub, and it's good work, but it's tough work. I mean, the voiceover stuff is that blunt, but he's an interesting character, and the whole thing is that he works nights and he works late, and his health isn't great because that's not what somebody who's getting up there in age wants to be doing all the time. He has a cardiac incident and needs to quit, so he's trying to find a way to sell off the club so he can escape to some remote island with his girlfriend, played by Teresa Palmer. It's a good plan. And then it throws in a whole bunch of other stuff. And it has a lot of characters who are potentially as interesting as the Crow character. Aaron Paul plays like a community college professor who ends up in debt to somebody and has to rob people at gunpoint, and that's how he's trying to pay off this debt. Nina Dobrev plays a bank teller who wants to get in on the action because she loves Point Break. I'm trying to think who else. There's like a couple. I can't even remember who the problem is. There are so many just other characters, supporting characters, who might have been. Oh, Luke Evans, that was it. Who could have been interesting, but they all end up just being part of this elaborate plot of how this money is getting stolen and moved around and who it needs to go to and who's going to miss it. There's like a cartel boss who's supposed to have the money laundered. It ends up just being kind of monotonous and routine, and that's unfortunate because I think all the characters when they're introduced have a lot of promise, but it's almost as if they go out of the way just to make it as generic as possible.
Yeah, it's confusing because there are interesting ideas in it, and then like Nina Dobrev and Aaron Paul are involved, and I was just like, what movie is this versus the interesting one about the nightclub owner that I was watching before? I don't know. I really honestly am having trouble remembering what the fuck happens in this movie that I watched.
Yeah, I completely
a week
forgot
ago.
Luke Evans because his character seems interesting at the start, and then he is just. I don't want to give it away. There's a couple of twists here, but Luke Evans' character, who's like, he's supposed to be this tough guy who ends up being a loser, it seems like. But then the reveal is he's just something else that's part of this cat and mouse game, and it's dull.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say other than it's a very 2.5-star movie where I was like intrigued by what's going on, but also could tell like that I feel like the book's probably better and makes more sense and interlocks the stories better because the movie doesn't do a very good job of doing that. So I'm just gonna say 2.5 stars and say this is one of those movies that's so forgettable. I don't really have a lot to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it. I mean, when you talk about it, it's an adaptation of a book. I'll bet the book also gives you a better sense of the characters too, because that's what books could do. It can spend more time with characters and inside their head, and you can understand them and you can understand the nuances of them. When you just throw them all into a movie and kind of hope something sticks, it doesn't work as well. Like you could have made a movie exclusively about the Crow character. You could have made a movie exclusively about the Paul and Dobrev characters doing the robbery stuff. You could have made an entire movie about Luke Evans's character and that trajectory. And any of those could have been interesting. But it's just kind of bland when you throw them all into a blender and you hope that it sticks.
It's crazy that like this ostensibly fun crime movie is just like so bogged down by trying to have all of its plots be like made sense of that it doesn't really, it ends up none of it really connects. I feel like it's just trying to do too much. Yeah, so 2.5 for me.
Yeah, 2 from me for the Get Out, Brett.
All right, now we're going to disagree again because I thought Couture was interesting and a movie full of like good performances and small moments that maybe I don't know if it amounts to much, but I don't know. I was compelled by it. Here's the trailer for Couture.
Where are you? I'm in Paris. I'm doing that fashion thing.
Vous êtes contente d'aller réaliser le film qui ouvrira notre Fashion Week?
Action! Oui, je me sens très chanceuse. I know you're mad.
It's my option is better, but I'm okay to do yours.
I was scouted on the streets in Nairobi. I'm a risk taker. And voila.
So we're gonna run this way. Shadows following you. Hello?
I've received your results. You'll have to see someone as soon as possible.
But it's not serious, right? I mean, it's not a thing. It's not.
Maybe it's my post mom dying of cancer empathy or something, but I did find this compelling, if only because Angelina Jolie is giving like a really good performance in this movie. It's another movie with interweaving. Is it even interweaving? Just different characters in the same world, I guess. There's like a makeup artist we're looking at who wants to be a writer. There's a horror director played by Angelina Jolie who's working on something wouldn't usually do, like a fashion show video. and then there's a third woman from like another country who's an immigrant who is becoming a model essentially, and you're just kind of watching these three stories. And Angelina Jolie gets the call that she's basically got cancer and needs to deal with it immediately, and that's what the movie is. Just like a slice of life. This is these people's lives, and they happen to work in fashion. And I'm not exactly maybe sure why fashion. You know what I mean? Like, why is that the interlocking things? And I'm interested to hear what the director would say about that. But it didn't bother me, and I thought it was really compelling slice of life drama where, you know, when I love the scene where the woman wrote something and has like a writing teacher tell her that it sucks, then it's like, okay, and that'll be $50 to tell her that her work sucks. Like, I don't know, there's like all these little details and moments that I just thought were human and real, and it ended up making this movie a compelling slice of life thing, even though if I don't know what it amounted to ultimately, I guess. Tell me what you thought.
Yeah, I think it is compelling on a certain level. I did like all of the characters who are introduced, and then I think reasonably and rightly, Angelina Jolie's character takes over, and that story is really good. But then that means that the model, she was originally from South Sudan, and her family moved to Kenya because of the war, and now she's in Paris trying to start a career as a model, but the father doesn't know about it. Her little brother misses her and wants her to come home, but she doesn't know if she's going to be able to now that she could potentially have a career as a model. That's a really interesting story. You brought up the
Yeah.
makeup artist who wants to write and has all these fantastic stories to tell about the models she's met and all these other big personalities that she's met while working this job. That's also a really interesting story. And if you're going to throw those in there and kind of hint that they're going to go somewhere, when as good as Jolie is here, and she is very good, and the character story is also very good. But when you're promising that it's going to be a bigger picture of all of these characters and their lives, and then you push those other two aside so that Jolie's character could take over, it's kind of disappointing, because we could have had a whole movie about Jolie's character, or we could have had more to do with those other two, but it just feels like the movie is unfocused and it doesn't know what to do. And I like this filmmaker too, Alice Winnicor. She did a movie, I think we reviewed it, Revoir Paris, with Virginie Efira.
Yes.
Who survives a terrorist attack.
Yes.
That's a good movie.
Really
she
good.
wrote Mustang a few years back. I don't know. That was a
really
good movie.
Really good movie that was very
that movie
acclaimed.
is like 10 years old. Oh,
wow. That makes
I
me
need to
feel
watch
old.
that again.
Yeah. I remember that's one of the first movies I got sent as like you're writing about movies, here's a Blu-ray, and I was very excited to get it. It's a good movie.
Yeah, that's a very good movie. I need to watch that again. So I was a little disappointed with the movie. I completely agree that Jolie is fantastic here, and you know, she has a personal connection with the material that's going on here, and so that you could really feel that in the performance too. Yeah, you're right. I don't know if it adds up to much in the end, and I think the big reason for that is just because it is offering up more than it can pay off by the end, because of that 3 character structure that doesn't go anywhere.
And yeah, I mean, there's also like Angelina Jolie's mom, I believe, or mother and grandmother both had breast cancer, and is it Angelina Jolie herself who underwent a double mastectomy? Like there's personal
she's
reason.
very public about that, and
and there's very like I appreciated that, I guess. Like I see what connected her to the material. The director I was reading some stuff on, and she's like, couture has 2 meanings, you know, like haute couture, high fashion, but it also in French just means like stitches. And she's like, this is a visual and thematic metaphor bridging the fashion world and the medical world. I'm like, okay, interesting. Don't know what that's about. But she also talked about how, you know, the film shifts perspective to focus heavily on the women whose labor supports the fashion industry. It highlights how these women are forced to stitch together and repair their own lives while working in a fast-paced, male-dominated environment. So, like, I don't know. There's probably a bigger idea that I'm missing here that would make it all connect. But I do think it's a good slice of life drama, almost like a social realist thing. But I don't know. I don't know what to say. I hate when I don't know what to say about a movie, but it is recommendable by me nonetheless. Not really well performed movie. it's just, I don't know, if you like a slice of life drama, if you like an Agnes Varda movie, like Cleo from 5 to 7, which is, you know what that movie is? Like it reminded me a lot of this, which is, that movie's about a woman getting a cancer diagnosis and then like wandering around trying to connect with somebody about it, and then she learns someone else's life, about someone else's hard life, and then like comes to term with it over the course of a couple hours. So this movie like reminded me of like, it's trying to do something like that, I feel like, where it's like giving you some big perspective on life throughout these small moments, and I think it does work in that way. So I'm 3 stars on it.
I'm 2 stars on it, Brett, and just mostly because I think it could have, with a bit more focus in either direction, either just exclusively on Jolie's character, because that's the path it takes, or to give us a better sense of those other 2 characters that it starts off with and then loses track of. I think it could have worked, but in the form that it's at now, I don't think it is as interesting as it could have been.
Fair enough. Let's talk about 40 Dates and 40 Nights, another disagreement we will have. Here's a trailer for this rom-com starring someone you may remember as the child from Adam Sandler movies, and another guy. Here's the trailer.
Newsflash, love, it's extinct.
Look, you are really hot, like a solid 6 out of 10.
Okay. An idea. Go on 40 dates. And if you have found a keeper, I will pay your rent.
Your grandma's literally trying to pimp you out.
Are you cool if we go Dutch?
Yeah. You remind me of my ex-wife.
And then St. Patty's, he couldn't hold his liquor. He threw up a little bit.
Hey, so sorry I'm late. Do I know you from somewhere?
No.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Got a customer that needs a baby free. Can you bring up the safe sex keys, please?
Cool. I'm gonna be single forever. Really bad? Yeah, it was bad.
Oh,
sorry. I'm so sorry.
See, I think you critique the idea that they keep running into each other. That I think is like they're having fun with the formula of a rom-com, and we keep running into each other. So I was on board for the silly tone of this sweet enough rom-com, where these people who, you know, try to push against it end up probably doing exactly what you think is going to happen. But I don't know, what made it annoying for you?
I think it is because they literally bump into each other, I think 3 times during the movie, even after there's no reason for them. Like, you kind of, the rom-com formula, you know, they have to bump into each other, sometimes literally, to meet, and then maybe to have that second meeting that gets them started on a relationship or whatever. But at a certain point, they know each other, and they could call each other, and they could text each other. There's no reason for them to bump into each other by chance, except that the plot needs them to, apparently, just to get the story going at a certain point later on. It's just, it's annoying. I just think that it shows that the movie doesn't have many ideas beyond the premise, which is Bailey Madison plays this young woman living in Houston. Her roommate moves out suddenly, and her grandmother offers to pay her rent for a year if she goes on 40 separate dates with 40 different men across 40 different nights or days, and finds love, apparently. Or doesn't find love. I don't remember what it was. However it is, whatever. It's one of those goofy things that doesn't make any sense. But
it's funny to me how tossed off it is as like,
yes. Yeah.
Oh, the whole premise of your movie, it's just a grandma off on a whim being like, well, if you do this, I'll do this. And then that's the movie, which it is slapdash, but I was like, okay, I was on board with it, but it's definitely a amateurishly made in a lot of ways. And that's one of them.
Yeah, that's one of them. Also, just the writing of everything where, I don't know, they just keep having to bump into each other accidentally to let everything move forward. That's also kind of, you know, he shows up at her work because he's a marketing guy. She at one point, after they go on their first date, after they go on their first date, they bump into each other at the bar afterwards with friends to have another awkward scene. And I think the next day they bump into each other again at a bookstore where he just happens to be with her high school bully that traumatized her and that she told that story to. Like, this is so contrived. I could not get past it. Like, it's just coming up with these gags and ideas on a whim, it feels like. And I just didn't feel like it had any coherency to it. And I I don't know. I didn't find it funny. I didn't find it very charming or romantic. Bailey Madison, you're right, from SM and Sandler stuff, and because it always comes back to it, she was also in The Strangers Pray at Night.
Oh yeah, she was.
Yeah,
That's
she was
right.
one of the kids in that.
She was also the star of Bridge of Terabithia, I think, the movie I don't think I saw in 2000.
Oh, she might have been the little sister.
Yeah, she's somebody in that.
Oh,
yeah.
God, Bridge of Terabithia.
And remember that
Terabithia
movie
is so-
Brothers with Jake Gyllenhaal
Yeah.
and Tobey Maguire? She's in that too, but she's like a kid. She's been a
Yeah,
kid
she's
for a
everywhere.
while, and now she's
And now
an
she
adult.
is the lead in a romantic comedy that's
Yeah.
not good. And hopefully she gets a better work. I think she's good here. She's
Yeah.
she's fine enough. But man, the movie is I think it's a stinker.
I thought it was solid enough, but I'm having a hard time being like, is it a 2.5 or a 3? I don't know. I feel like it's probably more of a 2.5 because of how slapdash it is, but it's like charming enough, and the things that bothered Mark were like endearing to me, and like, oh, this movie's kind of self-aware.
Is it though? Is it really self-aware, or is it just because I don't think
Just
they make it
doing it? Yeah.
I think they're just doing it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, but I'll still give it 2.5 stars.
Okay, I think that's fair. 1.5 stars for me for 40 Dates and 40
Wow.
Nights.
Fair enough. All right, let's talk about that Carla Simone movie, Romeria. Here's the trailer.
Marina, bienvenida, por fin.
Ahí vivían mis padres, ¿no? En ese edificio alto.
¿Estuviste investigando?
Sí. Madre mía, la misma constitución que tu madre. Calcomanía.
¿Y por qué has tardado tanto en venir a visitarnos?
Bé, molt simpàtics. N'hi ha una mica guapo.
Yo siempre imaginé que aquí es donde escondían a tu padre.
¿Qué?
No lo sabía.
¿Cómo que escondieron?
This is a great movie about, I guess, family, and how even, the people you think you know the most and trust the most and should know the most about, there's probably a lot you don't know. And maybe because you're a kid, they don't tell you certain things and you learn those when you get older. It's just a good movie about things like that. And it did remind me of After Sun and Blue Heron, and being like, you're watching a director almost do like self-insert stuff. It feels very personal is what I'm trying to say. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it really does. So it's young woman turns 18. She wants to get a scholarship to a university, but her official documentation does not have her father's side included on something. Like there's no connection to her father's side in her official documents. She has to go find her father's family. The father and the mother are both dead. Has to find her father's family so that can get fixed and clarified so she can get a scholarship. She ends up spending a lot of time with the father's family, so uncles and aunts and cousins, and through that learning how much she doesn't know about her parents and how they died and how the family reacted to their relationship and to her being born and to what ended up happening with the father specifically. There's a lot going on here, and it's really well observed. Just that awkwardness of, she has never met these people, but they are family by blood. They should be close, and there's like this sense that they want to be close to her, but she can also tell that some of them don't like her, some of them don't want her to be around, some of them have
Yeah.
secrets to tell, and she doesn't know how to react around these people. It's really well done. And you brought up After Sun and Blue Heron, and I think specifically because this movie does something very bold, like
Yes.
both of those films do,
Yes.
in the third act, where it takes you into a place that you're not, that would be impossible for it to be. I don't know how to explain it, but I think it works really well here, where it's just transported back into the past, and you in a way that the main character actually does understand what's going on with her parents in a way that she hadn't before. It's really well done. I don't want to give too much away about how they do it, but it's really well done. I think it's, I don't want to compare it directly, but I think it's done better than Blue Heron, just because Blue Heron has the awkwardness of the filmmaker and the insert of that and all this other stuff. This one is just literally let's just throw this
I think
memory.
maybe it's more confidently made or something.
Yes, that might be it. Yeah.
Blue Heron feels like more of a debut than this is like a third or fourth movie or something.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is, because I really like Blue Heron also.
Yeah, I like Blue Heron too.
Yeah.
But that was my sticking point with it, is I don't think that big payoff in the third act works as well as it could have, but it works really well here.
But like, oh God, what a great like journey of self-discovery this movie is. But the framing of it is so smart. Like, she doesn't have the correct paperwork, so she needs to go sort this thing out with her family, and the can of worms that unlocks and the different personalities she meets. Yeah, it's just a really well-conceived movie, well-written, well-directed, well-constructed. It's really compelling and very well made. And there's like, I guess you'd say hallucination sections, and the way that they're directed is just, it's just all of it's given. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just a very well-made movie that takes a lot of different forms and all builds to like a tale that you can tell is like a fictionalized but autobiographical narrative. And Carlos Simone has made, I think, 3 movies now that I've really enjoyed. So I'm 3 stars in Romeria. Very good. And go check out Summer 1993 as well. And then Alcaraz, I think, is the other one.
Yeah, 3 stars for me too for Romeria. Currently in very limited release, I think, but it will be expanding in a couple of months. It's Janus film, so could maybe get one of those, Criterion premiere releases at some point. I'm not sure what their plans are or how they decide to do that.
Right on. 3 stars from both of us. And I believe it's now time for the recap, which I can provide. I believe I have it. Supergirl, Mark 2, me 2. The Invite. Oh, actually, sorry. Jackass, Best and Last, 3 stars from both of us. The Invite, 3 stars from both of us. Little Brother, half a star from Mark, 1.5 from me. Lucky Strike, 1.5 from Mark, 3 from me. The Get Out, 2 stars from Mark, 2.5 from me. Couture, 2 stars from Mark, 3 stars from me. 40 Dates and 40 Nights, 1.5 from Mark and 2.5 for me. And Romeria, 3 for both of us. I think that was it. Nailed it.
I liked when you were saying Little Brother, and you're like, half a star from Mark, 1.5 from me.
I don't remember.
Like you were questioning. No, I think it felt like you were questioning. Do I really want to give this 1.5?
Yeah, is that right? Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
Let's go to the comments, which I believe we have a ton because you guys are awesome and comment a lot now. Let me see what we've got, because I know we have 2 different YouTube videos to get through the comments for. Regarding Minions and Monsters, I know you might be questioning whether or not you will review it, considering that you haven't seen any other Despicable Me movies beyond the first one. And judging from the trailers that I have seen, this movie looks to be entirely disconnected from the rest of the series, even the last 2 Minion movies, and is primarily trying to be its own little story. So if you ask me, this one's perfectly safe to watch and review without feeling lost. In addition, not only would this mark the first time you talk about a Despicable Me movie on the show, considered you also passed on Despicable Me 4 in 2024. I'm assuming that was me and not you. I'm sure you saw it. But considering that we will be getting a lot of heavy hitters coming out later in July, like The Odyssey and Evil Dead Burn, I feel like the perfect movie we need right now is a nice, goofy feature-length cartoon, and Minions and Monsters would certainly fit the bill. That was Leonardo Lopez. My kid, my 2-year-old, my almost 3-year-old, is so excited for Minions and Monsters. I think the title is just perfect because the 2-year-old, 3-year-old loves monsters, and she's into Minions as well. So it's kind of a perfect match. The trailer played before Toy Story 5. She's psyched. I'm skipping the press screening to take her when it opens on Thursday, or Wednesday, actually, I guess. So thank you for that. I forgot that Despicable Me 4 came out when we were doing the show, and I probably didn't see it because I didn't really care to do that back then. We have Nelson telling us the Toy Story on Super Nintendo game was awesome. He's right. MWS 51581 says, did anybody catch the in-joke in Toy Story 5 where Smarty Pants is given red hair in the fantasy sequence? It looks like Conan's hair. Yes, I did catch that, actually. By the time I read this comment, I will have seen voicemails for Isabel. A movie you didn't bring up as a comparison was Love Again from 3 years ago. The one that had Celine Dion playing herself. It also had a plot about a woman who lost somebody and sent text to the person after the death, and the number was transferred to a man in the city. That's a fun detail. Did not know that.
Yeah, I had to look up that movie again. There's a reason I forgot about that movie. because
Really?
it was awful. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even see it, I don't think. Voicemails for Isabel sound similar to The Lake House with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, which says known pleasures, which led to me say that my mother and I were extras in that movie. And I'm sure I mentioned it before, but Keanu Reeves was the nicest person ever, just like everyone always says he is. We shared popcorn that got refilled every take because he was eating popcorn walking down the Navy Pier steps as fireworks went off. And that scene never made it to the movie, nor did it make it to the deleted scenes. But my mom did make it into the movie, walking past him on the street at one point. And yeah, it was funny because that was a movie that like we obviously went and saw it because we thought we'd be in it, and then was just like kind of a bad movie that we didn't find ourselves in until we got the DVD and my mom found herself. But yeah, my mom did a lot of extra work at some point when she found out that Chicago had a lot of that, and we did that one. And I remember she did The Dilemma, the Ron Howard movie. That's also really bad. And then she was in The Dark Knight in the scene where the Joker, before any of us knew what the Joker looked like, she was there with Heath Ledger as he like kicked people around that room when he like breaks into the billionaire party or whatever it is. The first time you see him, I think. I remember writing like a spy report for JoeBlow.com or something, being like, "This is what I can tell you about this scene." So funny. Anyway, that was an aside. Thank you for that trip down memory lane. What else do I have here? Sorry, I just opened the YouTube window and now the theme song of our podcast is blaring in my ears, which it's a good song, but that was loud. What else do we have here? Comments. Ed Douglas is 100%, 110% with me on Maddie's Secret. Loved it the first time I saw it in March and loved it on second viewing. Then again, I'm 100,000% against Brett when it comes to Never Change. That movie is such a piece of shit. And yeah, I mentioned David Wayne and Wet Hot American Summer in my review too, because that's a masterpiece and Never Change never comes close to being that good. Great episode. So it's nice to know that someone who can like that movie, Wet Hot, can still not like Never Change. I was like, if you like that, you'll like this. And because you didn't like either. But that's not true for him.
Yeah, didn't like either of those.
MWS again says, I like Leviticus. The main character's name being name and involving same-sex relationships presents a pun that I hope a critic somewhere uses. Call me by your name. That's a good call. Also, does this mean Girls Like Girls slipped through the cracks? I know Mark reviewed it. Yes, actually. Girls Like Girls is a small little movie that I missed last week that is playing locally, but not at the right times for me to see it, so I missed it. But Mark liked it. 3 stars from Mark for Girls Like
Girls.
It
had a I mean, not weirdly limited release, but it was unlimited enough that it wasn't playing everywhere. I just lucked out that I was able to get to it easily and right in time with the other movie that I missed out on last week, which I forgot. Oh yeah, Death of Robin Hood. That was it.
Got it. And then we have the new episode. Leonardo Lopez wrote down the recap, which Mark did record, but I didn't figure out how to get it in there because I was too annoyed from trying to edit around the audio blips that kept happening throughout the episode because I was pairing our voices tracks with the video, and then it was a pain. So that's why the recap didn't happen.
I think we were good this time. I didn't.
Yes.
No problem. Then again, okay, good, because I didn't notice the fast forwarding when it happened too.
No,
so
I didn't.
I did some updates on my computer. It might have just been that.
Yeah, you're fine now. This episode should be fine. Carrie Mulligan says, over the past year, I made it a point to not watch any trailer. So when I'm in a theater, I take out my phone, zone out, and put it away right before the movie starts. That's what I do too, or I just walk in.
Me too.
I walk in late sometimes too.
I play my games, my word games and whatnot during the trailers.
I don't have to be sold. Since I watch nearly everything, I don't have to be sold. Plus, trailers are so spoiler heavy, and if possible, I'd like to know nothing. 100%. Preaching to the choir. I say this all the time. This has led to many movies being complete mysteries, and with Last Weekend being a perfect example. From a title, I thought Robin Hood might be the last joyful adventure of the character we know. Then with Leviticus, the title led me to thinking it was probably horror or just propaganda. So when the guy started kissing, I was relieved that it wasn't going to be a Dean Cain, Kevin Sorbo type movie. At first, I thought the religious conversion scene was funny, not realizing it was about to take a supernatural turn. That's good note. I like knowing all these things. Thank you. The End of Time Travel always live posts when they watch it, and I appreciate that. And Carrie Mulligan said, I just watched Couture and loved it. Then noticed critics are too kind, which is fine. But between it feeling very personal to Angelina Jolie and a loved one currently going through something similar, I really felt it. Plus, even though they don't share scenes, I love how it's sort of a Julie Ducournau reunion with Ella Rumpf, Vincent Linden, and Garance Millier having significant roles. Good call. That's a good call out. Someone called out the upload on the podcast is messed up, which I've acknowledged now. Sorry. And Doozy Dumbler says the death of Robin Hood is basically him stealing from and killing people and then regretting it later, seeking redemption. So what's the point then? You don't even need it to be about Robin Hood. If they made it more realistic but kept the theme, I'd consider seeing it. How to Rob a Bank seems like it's a Robin Hood type story. I just saw a trailer for that movie for the first time, and it does look like that's kind of the deal. What else? The End of Time Travel says he will at some point get super stoned and watch the first half hour to see the action scene that we talk about in the death of Robin Hood. And that's not a bad idea. But see if you can stand the whole time. And I don't think it's very good. But Mark, people enjoy it. Some people enjoy it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, and most people telling us that our audio is fucked up. And I think I got to everything else. So I think that's it. We'll be back next week with Enola Holmes 3. I will hopefully have caught up. Minions and Monsters. Will I catch up with those and watch the fucking 6 of them that exist or whatever? 4 Despicable Me's, 2 Minions, maybe 3 Minions. I think it's actually only 2 Minions.
4 Despicable Me's. This is the 3rd Minions.
Yeah, so this is the 7th movie, and I don't think there's another spinoff of those. I think that's just those. That's what it is. There's the Rise of Gru was a Despicable Me movie.
Rise of Gru was the 2nd Minions movie.
Okay, so Jesus Christ, they're so confusing.
Yeah, so the spinoff became a prequel.
Why does this franchise have the strangest continuity or whatever you want to call it? Okay, we'll be back with that. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Goodbye. Thank you.